Hey, everybody. I just want to take a quick moment to mention a podcast. Ezra Klein, you've probably heard of him. He has an award winning podcast, and he had Anand Giridharadas, who is an author, on to discuss the Epstein infrastructure and how he got his power. And I've had disagreements with Ezra's work at times in the past. I agree with most of what he says, and I think he's very insightful, and he really brings a perspective on things, which I appreciate. But I thought this was morbidly fascinating to get into the behind the scenes for Epstein and how not only he got the power that he did, but how he kept the power even after his 2008 conviction for solicitation of a minor. And I thought it was really insightful what they were talking about. Gyarados is amazing at putting things into words and the power of this Epstein class, the billionaire class, and how people wanted to be a part of that, how he got into it, and then how other people wanted to get into it, and how he was kind of a cog in that because a lot of these people, a lot of these billionaires, just aren't really interesting people to talk to. They have access to a lot of money, they have access to a lot of power nowadays, usually because of the tech world, but they're not that interesting to talk to. And Epstein utilized that, he capitalized on that to get some of them closer to children and women for abuse. And it goes into a number of the relations that we're seeing right now. Steve Tisch, part owner of the New York Giants. Um, uh, who else? Catherine Rumler, who was the chief counsel for Obama, and then she was the general counsel at Goldman Sachs. She has now resigned, actually, just after this podcast was aired. But it highlights a number of people and their relationships with Epstein and how he stayed in power, and then how he got his um, image rehabilitated after 2008. People knew before 2008 who he was. They knew, and a lot of people chose not to deal with him. A lot of people chose not to deal with him, or after having dealt with him, left even before 2008. And but a lot of people knew, and that gets into like the birthday book, with all these people and everything, talking about women in the birthday book to Epstein, including current president of the United States. But then how he got back kind of in that realm after 2008, where his rehabilitation was supported by institutions like Harvard and others that still allowed him to travel in their circles. This again after solicitation of a minor, and it's really fascinating. And they talk about the lack of bravery that we're seeing in companies, that we're seeing in politicians, where a lot of these individuals, they had grandparents who were in World War II, and talk about that, the bravery of that, and fighting against fascism and fighting against you know um, powerful evil elite. And now they can't even send out a statement sometimes on things like this. Their grandsons and granddaughters, and where that lack of bravery is in the elite, powerful, if you will. It's not in the people, and they discuss this. It's not in the people out in Minnesota. It's not in the people like Preddy and Good, who are, doing the right thing for other human beings. There's plenty of bravery there, plenty of bravery amongst the people, but there's a lack of bravery in the circles of power. And we're witnessing that with every day of silence, where they don't do anything about this or say anything about this and what's going on. And so, if you get a chance to check that out, I really think you're going to appreciate it. Again, I thought it was super insightful, and there were a lot of linkages that I was not aware of that they highlight. And so, I think it's worth your time. Okay, thanks.